If you're thinking about moving to Georgia, make sure you can handle these 10 things before you commit. I'll go ahead and tell you the first 4 you've probably heard before, but the last 6 are hardly talked about. Number 1, of course, this depends on where you live, but if you are in the metro Atlanta area, your average drive time is going to be 45 minutes to an hour. I reside in the city of Loganville, and to get to Atlanta, we're talking about an hour. To get to Conyers, it's like 30 minutes. To get to the Mall of Georgia, maybe like 40 minutes, maybe 45. It just depends on where you live, but I already budgeted in my mind. But if you're used to driving 15 to 20 minutes, and that gets you between major cities, it is going to be different here. Now, in regards to just everyday shopping, listen, all of that is close. Grocery store is 3 to 5 minutes away. So in most areas in Metro Atlanta, you are going to be close to, things that you need, your shopping, your hospitals, your schools, those kinds of things. Now, you might say, well, I want to live closer to Atlanta, so that's going to cut down my drive time, which takes me to number 2, which is traffic. I hear that we are not the worst city for traffic, but when I tell you, I have this shirt, shout out to Grady Baby, the makers of the shirt, and it says, "We full Atlanta." And it is very contrary to my profession. And I don't normally feel that way, but I do feel that way when I am sitting in traffic on the highway and I'm like, it is only 1 p.m. Where is everybody going? But that is Atlanta traffic. Thankfully, again, I live in Metro Atlanta and I don't have to commute to Atlanta every day, but plenty of people do it. So just factor that in if you decide that you are going to live on the outskirts. And if you are moving with somebody, your spouse, your partner, whoever, have that discussion, because it sounds all good and dandy when you're moving, you might be getting a new house and everybody's excited. And you're like, yeah, I don't mind driving an hour and a half, 2 hours to work every day. That sounds great. It will wear on you real quick. So, and that's 2 hours to and from, if that's how long your commute is. And just be realistic how taxing that can be. Driving that every day for a work week can be on someone, and factor that in to the decision of where you decide to move. And no, for some people, it will not bother them. I know my husband at one point considered that drive time from work to home his decompression, his downtime. So to each his own, but keep that in mind. Number 3, the weather. Now, if this is the first time you're seeing my face, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Natasha Bazile. I am a realtor and associate broker with Virtual Properties Realty in Georgia. I specialize in home selling, new construction, and relocation. I do have a video on my channel called My Personal Home Story that will give you more insight, but I was born and raised in Queens, New York, grew up in Florida, South Florida, and then moved to Georgia in 2007. When it comes to weather, I do appreciate the change of seasons here in Georgia.
Nice.
I am totally a punk when it comes to the cold. Like, I cannot rep New York because I can't do the cold. Florida spoiled me. I'm cold. I'm warm blooded, whatever which blood is supposed to be. I need blankets. I don't like being cold. So I do like the change of seasons in Georgia. I could probably do without winter, but hey, I can't be picky. All right, so I'm getting used to it. Now I've been here since 2006. Yeah, I've gotten much better. Those first couple, ooh, yeah. But the weather, you are going to have your change of seasons. I love it. During fall, I love to see the leaves changing. Then I love it also during springtime to see the colors coming in. And also I have a home maintenance video and we talk about, home ownership. What are you doing to spruce up your house during springtime and home maintenance and all that stuff? I love to see it. What I can do without is during the fall and sometimes winter, you leave home, it is cold as the dickens. And by the afternoon, you have to take off some layers, which I learned, dress in layers. Don't dress to be, bundled up all day, because when you go outside for lunch, now you're breaking a sweat. You got to dress in layers in Georgia. Tip, remember that, right? And then by nighttime, you might get some rain. So, Georgia weather can be funky. I am a proponent of not referring to Georgia weather using mental health terms. Yeah, I know it's common, easy. People think it's light to just do that, but I am sensitive to those people that struggle with that. So I don't make those references. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But let's just say Georgia weather can be fickle. And I'm gonna find this image because it jokes on Georgia weather. And it's like, yeah, where are we right now? It's like, we're in fall. Oh no, we're in fake fall. We're in, and it just has these terms. It's really funny, but yes. In the grand scheme, I don't think it's much to complain about. On the other side, some areas do have some flooding. You could have some tornadoes. There are tornado warnings, depending on what areas that you live in. The Metro Atlanta area, I want to say we don't. I mean, we'll be on there like in the warning. We will see, okay, this might be coming this way, but to say that we get hit with stuff often, I don't think we're in a high alert area. Hope that makes sense. From weather, we're going to talk about the bugs. And I'm only going to bring up bugs because I've heard other people mention bugs in Georgia. And I don't know if it's because I came from Florida. And if you know about Florida weather, like, the bugs here don't bother me. I don't know exactly what it is about the bugs in Georgia that people complain about. I will tell you, I was in one area of Georgia. It was called Perry, Georgia. They had a fly issue. I don't know if it's all of Perry, Georgia. I don't know if there was a horse farm nearby, but the flies were wilding. Like, it was different. It was different in that area. So it may be a different area type of thing. But bugs, I don't see that it's any, or maybe I'm just used to it. So comment if you see, the bug issue being really different where you come from. Please drop a comment down below, because coming from Florida, I'm like, now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. These are the ones I'm gonna say are not talked about often, if at all. When you are moving to Georgia, I highly suggest and recommend that you have your job lined up. If you are of the mindset, you've heard so many good things about Georgia, about Atlanta, and you're just gonna move here and everything is gonna work itself out, they gotta have a lot of jobs, right? I don't suggest that. And I'm gonna tell you, I did that. Watch my personal home story. I don't know what I was thinking. When I moved here in 2007, I had a job offer, and it wasn't one that I really wanted. So I was like, I'll just move there and I'll find something when I get there. Will never, ever do that again. Unless you have savings that's gonna take you the next 6 to 12 months where you got a cushion, you're really not pressed, you are good. You can, but if you need to come down here and really need to find employment, you're gonna be working at somebody's call center somewhere. That's not the wisest plan. So I would suggest you have your job lined up. That takes us to number 6. I suggest you have your housing lined up. Again, you may have heard great things about Georgia and you're like, it's easier to find housing there, or you can find cheap housing there. There was a time where housing was cheaper, both rent and to buy. We've seen rent prices increase, housing prices increase. Now, compared to other areas, we are still affordable. Wow! If you are of the mindset that you're gonna move here and buy a mini mansion for $350,000 in Metro Atlanta, those days are gone. Okay, and if you think that you are about to move here and rent a place for $1,100, those days are gone too. Now, even if you find some place to rent in Metro Atlanta for $1,100, it's gonna come with some disclaimers. It will come, it's not gonna be like a full house. It may be a room. You can get a room for $1,100. Have your expectation right of what you are coming here for with housing. So do not move here and say, I'm gonna sleep on my friend's couch, or I'm going to rent an Airbnb for a month or so, and then I'm gonna get my housing situated I do not recommend that. Go ahead and get your housing secured before you get here. You can get in contact with agents like myself that specialize in working with people that are relocating. Check out some of my other videos. I have worked with people that have never come in town and bought whole houses. Shout out to Whole House Home Inspection. That just took my mind there. That is my preferred home inspector. But yes, I've helped people that have never come in town. So you just have to get with the right person to help guide you through that process. And speaking of that, go ahead and grab your free Georgia relocation starter guide. The link will be in the description box. Number 7 is along the lines of having special needs or having someone in your family that has special needs, whether that is a child, a family member that needs elevated care. You definitely want to, for deciding to make this transition, you want to make sure that they're going to receive the same level of care here in Georgia that they are getting where you are from. I once had a family that had special needs children, and they relocated from up north. And what they found when they moved to Georgia and the area of Georgia that they were in was that they were behind. And it was a challenge for them. So much of a challenge that they decided to relocate back up north. So they bought the house with me and they sold the house with me when they went back. That was an eye-opener. Like, the care level can be different from depending on where you're coming from and coming to Georgia, or even if you're not coming to Georgia, just going anywhere. Make sure you look into that. That's a big item. So you don't want your loved one or yourself to receive a decline in service, but the move is good, or you love your house or whatever, you just gotta factor in what's important. So definitely look into that. Number 8, housing vouchers and assistance. Just like I mentioned, special needs. Something that is common in one state may not be as common in another state, or even in the area or part of town that you want to move to. Over the years, I've had people contact me and talk about using housing vouchers, and they're looking to come to Gwinnett County. That is not common, extremely common in Gwinnett County as it would be in like parts of Atlanta. It just isn't, right? So that could be an eye-opener for you, because you might think in the area where you live in, that's a common thing, and you could just take that voucher and move to Georgia and just move wherever you want. But in a highly sought-after area like Gwinnett County, a lot of sellers don't even need to consider that as an option because the market is just like booming. So just want to throw that out there. And again, have a realistic idea when you decide to move. Is the area where you want to live going to work out for your situation? Number 9 is know that there's a difference between Georgia, Atlanta, and Metro Atlanta. And it might be like, duh, of course there's a difference, but I promise you, when I moved here, at the time, they were like giving away houses in Georgia. So I just moved here, right? I wasn't the educated home buyer that you are. And I didn't, do a lot of research and all of that, which again, check out my personal home story, which is part of the reason how I ended up in real estate and why I help people do it the right way. But I just moved here. Thankfully, I landed in a great spot. I love it, no regrets. But it was a little adjustment, a little culture shock, because in my mind, when I think of Georgia, I think of Atlanta, right? And to realize that Atlanta is like a little part compared to all of Georgia. It is not all Atlanta, if you get what I mean. And lastly, number 10, I'm not gonna stay here on number 10 too long, but at the end of the day, just remember, it's still the South. On one hand, it's like, man, it's the South. I recently had a client, shout out to Lewis and Tiffany, and they recently relocated from up north, and he made the comment like, it's just more relaxed, people are friendlier, it's just different. So that's the plus side. The other side, you get times where you're like, it's still the South. What else can I say? It's the South. Every now and then you'll get reminders and you'll be like, it's still the South. Got it. And with that, I'm going to sign off there. Thank you for watching, but drop your comments. Please give this video a thumbs up. It's free and it helps me. Don't forget to check out the podcast. Download your free Georgia relocation starter guide. If you want to connect with me, you're thinking about moving to Georgia, we can schedule a 15-minute consultation. Let's just connect. Let's get a feel for each other. And if you decide, yes, I'm ready to go to the next step, then we will set up your home buyer's consultation. But the link will be here for my Calendly. Again, thank you for watching. Have a positive, peaceful, and productive day.